Hey guys, Nikki here, and today I'm going to show you a few simple exercises that you can do to reduce quad dominance and strengthen your glutes and hamstrings. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's get into it. So first, real quick, what do I mean when I say quad dominance? So for a lot of us, we just tend to be a little bit over strong or dominant in our quads, and we almost seem to use our quads and our hip flexors in place of, say, our deep core, or even when we should be using our glutes or our hamstrings, we'll almost overfire the front of the legs instead. And so that's usually a combination of a few things. It happens because of how we sit, and then in that seated pattern, we tend to kind of turn off the back of our leg a little bit and then sort of stay a little bit hyperloaded in the front of the leg. So there's two ways you can sort of work out of that posturing. And the first is to release the front of the legs. I like to use a foam roller for that. And the second thing to do is to really just focus on precise form to strengthen sort of your deep core and the muscles around your hips and legs, which should kind of decrease that hypertone or that tendency to really just load the front of your leg in everything you do. So getting right into it, if you don't happen to have a foam roller, just skip the first two exercises and the rest will still be super helpful. But I'm going to start by showing you how to roll out to the front of your leg. So you're going to come to kneeling, in front of you. You're going to come onto your forearms. And what I want you to do is just start by shifting your weight a little bit over to the left. So you're really kind of weighting a little more heavily into the left leg. And I just want you to start to swirl up, down, and around the front of that left leg. And you can kind of bias a little bit to the inside of the leg or a little bit to the outside of the leg. What most people will find is the outside of the leg's a little bit more tender. This really tends to be where we sort of overuse this muscle group a little bit. And you'll probably find some spots that sort of call out to you. So when you find one of those spots, I want you to pause on the edge of it, relax there. And you've got a few choices. You can bend and straighten the knee, which is kind of like a pin and stretch that you would do in massage. Or you can bend the knee and hold and you can kind of windshield wiper the legs side to side. And then pause and wait. And release down. If you're at home, you could do that in 2 or 3 spots. But if you're feeling all right, I want you to just come center, shift your weight this time a little bit right, swirl up, down, around the front of the right leg. So I like to foam roll the front of the leg instead of just stretching it is for a lot of us who feel tight in the front of our leg, sometimes you can actually be open in your hip flexor and still really gripped in your quad. And so even if you have kind of that openness or even hypermobility in the front of the leg and the hip flexor, working in the quad can actually help kind of balance that out. And again, when you find a tender spot, I want you to pause on the edge of it. Again, bend and straighten the knee. Or you can bend your knee and windshield wiper your legs side to sides. And then pause and wait and release the leg down. Again, you can do 2 or even 3 spots along your leg. So from here, I want you to ease off. Grab the roller now. You're going to spin around and you're going to sit with the roller at the bottom edge of your shoulder blades. And you're going to take your hands behind your head. So what we're going to do here is target our deep core. And you might be thinking this is hip flexion, so why would I do that if I'm quad dominant? Well, for a lot of us, we're actually really weak in short range hip flexion, even though we overuse our quads. And how you hold your pelvis will really make all the difference in this. So what I want you to do is just kind of take an easy breath in here. Exhale, start to curl forward. So you're looking between your knees. And now here's the trick to kind of get out of your hip flexor. So if you're like me and you're a little bit hip flexor, you'll tend to kind of arch your back. I want you to actually gently tuck your pelvis under. So you're going to roll your pubic bone towards your rib cage. And now you're going to stay curled up, which should help you sort of find your abs already. Take a breath in. As you exhale, hollow in your core. Take one leg up into a tabletop position without letting your back arch. Breath in here. Exhale, slowly put that foot down. Try the other side. Breath in. Exhale, lifting the leg up, keeping your abdominals drawn in, keeping that little baby pelvic tuck, so think pubic bone to ribs, and slowly lower it down. Keep this going. Breath in. Exhale, lifting the leg up without displacing the pelvis or arching your back and coming down. And one more time like this, I'm going to show an ugly one. If you let your pelvis kind of tip this way in either direction, you've lost it. So you're going to kind of keep that scoop of your abs. So if you feel good with this, adding on, take a breath in, exhale, keep that little scoop, take one leg up, and then take the second leg up. This is significantly harder, which is why I'd slow down, keeping that pelvic tuck. Breath in, exhale, put one foot down, and put the other foot down. You might even get a little bit of a shake. One more time, breath in, maintain that pelvic tuck. Exhale, take one leg up. I'm switching sides this time just for fun. And then without losing your pelvis, lift the second leg up. This is significantly more advanced than that first variation. Breath in, exhale, put one foot down, put the other foot down, and rest. Great, from here, working a little bit more into the hips and glutes. I want you to lie on your side. You can move the roller out of the way. You're no longer going to need it. You can tuck your bottom arm underneath your head. I want you to straighten both legs out. Now, when both of us lie down in this position, automatically again, because we tend to be a little bit quad dominant or hip flexory, our feet tend to be almost on like a V, which isn't bad. But for today, what I want you to do is slide your feet back in line with your sit bones. And then you're going to plant your top hand on the ground, and I want you to actually roll your entire body forward to a 45-degree angle. So legs are reaching out, they've got a little bit of energy. And inhale, lift the leg up, and exhale, lower. Now start taking these at your leisure. And what you should feel pretty quick if you found the right spot is sort of like the back of your hip and your glutes sort of turn on. If you don't feel that, re-roll your hips forward even a little bit more and take that top leg slightly back. Maintain that little bit of turnout. So your heels are going to come down and touch, but the toes probably won't. Good, and then you're making sure that you're lifting the leg only as high as you can without hiking the hips. And now I want you to hold the leg up. Re-roll your whole body a little bit forward. Turn that top leg a little bit out from that really finds my glute and start to do small leg circles here. Still holding the hips, still drawing in your abdominals. You should have a small low back curve present, but you're not super tucked, you're not super arched, and then go the other way. Great, and we'll go 4, 3, 2, hold the leg up, and let it rest. Good. You should feel some work in the leg by now. Bend both knees in. Sit up, put your head to the other side of your mat, or roll on over. So again, as you come down, I want you to be mindful that your feet are really in line with your sit bones. They're not in front of you. Plant your top hand, and then the tricky part here, you're going to roll your entire body forward to a 45-degree angle. So not just the ribs, hips come along too. Turn the top leg slightly out. Try to keep those hips stacked, abdominals gently engaged, and you're going to lift up and lower down. And again, if I know I'm in the right spot when I do this, if the second I lift my leg, I really kind of feel the side and the back of my butt cheek firm. If you feel your hip flexor, the front of your leg kick on, or kind of something like bunching right in here, take both legs a little bit more back and you should feel it a little bit more quickly. Good. Keeping that small turnout. So heels will end up touching, but toes probably will not. Knee faces forward, not in. Great. And now hold the leg up. Small circles. You're still holding your hips still. You're still letting your body roll forward. Emphasis going back on that leg circle. Pause, go the other way just for fun. You should really start to feel your glutes. Good. And we'll go 4, 3, 2. Hold that leg up and let it rest. From here, I just want you to roll onto your stomach. You're going to place one hand over the other. Let your forehead rest down your hands. You'll notice my head is slightly lifted. That's only because I have a microphone. I'm going into a little bit of glute and hamstring work here. Today, for fun, just keep the legs about hip width apart, but allow the thighs to externally rotate from the hips. And you're going to feel that turns your glutes on just a little bit more. So it should sort of help take you out of your quads, hip flexors, and some of those other muscles like to hang on. And then to keep the low back stable, I want you to gently tuck your pelvis. So you're going to send your pubic bone to the floor, which should help you engage your core. Then from here, just going to do a little bit of a leg lift. Inhale here. Exhale, reach the left leg out long to lift the left foot a little bit off of the mat. But try to keep both hips level so you're not going to feel like you shift super far left or right. Lower that leg down and then reach the right leg out long to lift the right leg a little bit off and lowering it down. Take these at your leisure. Be mindful as you do this that you're not shifting in your hips, arching in your low back, or bending your knees. So you're going to try to keep the legs really straight. Feet can be a little bit active. I'm keeping the reps low for the sake of length in the video, but you could do quite a few of these, up to 8 or even 10 sets. Good. Sending the pubic bone towards the ground. And we'll go one more. Good, and release. All right, from here, I want you to bring yourself up. We're going to go into a little hover. So a lot of the time with hovers, people tend to feel their quads more than their core. So I'm going to give you some tricks here to really kind of help you feel or get the most out of your hover here so you really feel your core a little bit more deeply. So I want you to come down onto your forearms. And I want you to just start with knees on the ground. And you're going to check that elbows are underneath shoulders, and then you're going to have your neck long. So you're going to lift your chin in the air and then gently tuck your chin down. So I am already pushing through my arms to kind of feel the sides of my shoulders be active, but I'm not hunching my back. So you want to think collarbones wide. And you're only pushing high enough to really feel kind of like your shoulder blades are flat along your ribs. And then you're going to check your pelvis. So you're not going to be super rounded like a little shrimp, but likewise, you're not going to be dropping down your low back. So again, think neutral pelvis, teeny tiny low back curve present. And now from here, I want you to step one leg back, reach through the toes, take the second leg back to meet it. And if you get here and all you feel is quads, I want you to check that you're not rounding up or locking your knees. So knees are strong but not locked. If you feel like you're locking your knees, send your shins a little bit towards the ground. Good, you're gonna hold and breathe. 4, make sure that you're not arching that back. 3, abdominals drawing in. 2, good, and rest. And again, you could do a few sets of those, but for the sake of brevity, I'm gonna keep it short. All right, so the final exercise I'm going to show you is just a little bit of standing integration so you can really find those hip stabilizers and those glutes. This is a really nice one to do before you're going to do, say, lunges or squats. So you can use a countertop or a chair, whatever you need for balance here. You're going to just let your hands rest kind of on the chair, or you can go hands on the chair this way, whatever's more comfortable. And you're going to have your knees a little bit bent, and you're in a hip hinge, so kind of butt is back. And again, you want to think neutral pelvis, so you're not super round and you're not super arched, somewhere in the middle of those two extremes. So you've got a little low back curve present. Hopefully I'm there. And then from here, let's start with the left side first. So I want you to shift your weight a little bit left so you kind of feel how the load goes into that left leg. And you should feel it travel up the back of the leg and kind of firm and tone. We're going to take the right leg up. Both knees are a little bit bent to start. And then when you're ready, as you kind of start to send the left leg straight, you're going to send the right leg straight. So you go into a little bit more of an arabesque. You should feel the backs of both legs engage, and then kind of soften the knees to come back down. And again, you're going to push, hips stay mostly square, and then coming back down. So each time you reach through the legs, you should feel some activation in your glutes and hamstrings. Now here's what you're trying to minimize. You're trying not to turn way off to the side, so you're really staying pretty square here. And the hips are pretty level, so the spine isn't doing a lot of motion. The work is really through the glutes and hamstrings. Nice active standing leg. Let's go one more. Reach it out, and then lowering it down. Let's try the other side. So find your right foot. Activate through it, but relax those toes. Shift your weight a little bit right. Just feel how that kind of engages the whole right leg. Lift the left foot off. Both knees start a little bit bent. And then when you're ready, as you send the right leg straight, you're going to send the left leg straight and then kind of bring it in. And for me, this is my weaker side. So what I notice is I have a tendency to want to kind of shift really far right. And I'm trying to keep my weight a little bit still over the left. And for me, the moment I do that, I can really feel my right glute turn on. And you want to think about keeping that right knee in line with kind of the second toe. Abdominal staying gently engaged. Good, we'll go one more. Send it out. Let it release, come on up, and you're done. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, I'd invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put out several videos each month. Take care.